As all quantity surveyors will be aware, understanding, interpreting, or even writing construction contracts can be a large part of your day-to-day role. Contracts can and do include hundreds of clauses that seek to set forth the obligations from one party to another and vice versa. One of these clauses that you may have heard of is liquidated damages, or LADs for short. But what are liquidated damages? Why are they used? And what are some of the complications that can surround them? Well, this video is going to take a look at just those questions. But before we dive in, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel if you are enjoying the videos that we post every week. So, what are liquidated damages? Simply put, liquidated damages are a clause that is sometimes added to a construction contract that sets out an amount of money that can be recovered from the client if the contractor breaches the contract. Within construction, liquidated damages generally relates to time, i.e. the contractor not finishing the project by an agreed date. The liquidated damages are often calculated like this. For example, the employer and contractor enter into a contract worth £100,000 for the contractor to build the employer a new car park. The liquidated damages figure has been calculated based on the employer's potential loss in profits if the car park should not open on the agreed date. This figure is £1,000 per day. The project overruns by 5 days, so the client enforces the liquidated damages clause. So, in this example, it would be £1,000 times 5 days, which is £5,000. The contract value was originally £100,000, so we deduct the £5,000 LADs, meaning the final payment to the contractor would actually be £95,000. Why is the liquidated damages clause used? Including a liquidated damages clause can be beneficial to a client as it can add predictability and a sort of insurance onto their project. Because in theory, in the event of a breach, the owner can very simply calculate the damages using the formula we outlined, without going through the trouble of proving actual losses, which could be a complicated and drawn-out process. When a predetermined value of damages is explicitly included and agreed by both parties, it allows the chance to negotiate and settle on a number that both parties feel is fair, practical and reasonable. From a contractor's perspective, the liquidated damages clause allows them the opportunity to limit the damage claims of the client if a dispute should arise over the delay of a project. Also, it provides them with the opportunity to analyse the level of risk involved by taking a contract and to plan appropriately. What are the potential problems with liquidated damages? It may seem that the premise behind a liquidated damages clause makes sense and should be fair on a construction project. However, in practice, the reality can be very different, with the liquidated damages clause being very hard to actually enforce. If a claim of liquidated damages was disputed and it ended up going to court, there are several elements that would be looked at. The value of damages must be deemed reasonable. However, in reality, damages are very difficult to quantify and prove accurately. The amount must be liquidated and agreed upon in advance. The amount must be used as compensation to the client and not as a penalty to the contractor. The cost of court proceedings to determine enforceability can very often outweigh the value of liquidated damages stood to be gained. To summarise, LADs can be a good way for clients to feel more secure and limit risk on their construction project. However, the value must be calculated accurately and reasonably. Simply adding a figure that is disproportionate to any actual loss would see the contractor contest the claim and very likely win if the dispute ever made it to the courts. Metroun, a commercial hub to your business.